All right, this is the second lecture for Chapter 12 that I wanted to go over for you guys for the test. And this deals with one of your essay questions that you have on the test in concerning Warren G. Harding. As you can see, we got a picture up here of Warren G. Harding and his Ohio gang. Warren G. Harding sitting right there in the middle. One of the things you guys are going to understand about Warren G. Harding, he hired his friends, what he referred to as his Ohio gang, as the members of his cabinet. And one of the things that Harding's going to be known for or quoted for is the saying that I have no problem with my enemies, but it's my friends that keep me walking the halls at night. And as Warren G. Harding's presidency slowly unwinds, one of the things that we find out is these gentlemen that are up here are really responsible for Warren G. Harding eventually ended up having either a heart attack or stroke and dying from that. Maybe it was from stress, but we'll get to that here in a second. What happened with Harding's administration is, as the years were going on in the early parts of the 1920s, things seemed good to America. Everything seemed like it was starting to get back on track. And that's why in the public eye it doesn't seem too harsh for Harding when you look at his presidency. But what begins to unfold as I said, his Ohio gang, his cabinet, really are the ones that put him in a bad situation. How is the first person in general is one of his cabinet members by the name of Forbes. Forbes, not Mr. Forbes on campus, but Forbes is responsible for selling government and hospital supplies to anybody to make a profit. And of course you can't be selling government supplies or hospital supplies that are purchased by the government for your own profit. And that's one of many scandals that plague him. The second one is you have Colonel Miller, who is actually caught taking bribes. So he's got two cabinet members right there, right off the bat, that start to get caught up in a lot of this scandalous activity that's going on in the presidency. The third one by far is going to be the largest one, is going to be the Teapot Dome scandal. Here's a political cartoon just kind of showing this situation where we have a scandal that really rocks his presidency. And this is the one that really catapults the Harding administration as being a scandalous presidency. The other ones were very small, kind of minor, at least at the beginning. This one surfaces and this one becomes kind of the catalyst that then causes people to start looking at the other scandals that were taking place. How this unfolds is you got a gentleman, Teapot Dome was a region in Wyoming, as well as the Elk Hills in California, that have oil reserves. And one of Harding's buddies of his Ohio gang, Albert Fall, who's the Secretary of the Interior, he basically has the lands that are reserved for the Naval Department, for the Navy. He has these lands that have this oil-rich area transferred into the Department of the Interior lands. With that, it allowed Albert Fall then to lease these lands to two of his oil buddies, or oil company buddies, and they then are making profit. And all of a sudden, Albert Fall starts receiving tens of thousands and then hundreds of thousands of dollars in our bank account, up to upwards of $400,000 at this time. At that time, the scandal begins to break, and Albert Fall is then actually put on trial. He's arrested and put on trial for these, and becomes the first person convicted of a felony while serving as a cabinet member for a president. So that, on top of the other two scandals, really begins to take hold and trouble Warren G. Harding. And what that causes Harding to do is eventually either have a heart attack or a stroke. Again, a stroke can lead to a heart attack or vice versa. You have a heart attack, you have a heart attack, and he ends up dying. And that really kind of brings his presidency to an end. Of course, the Vice President, Calvin Coolidge, he's going to go ahead and take the president's position. He's the vice president. But going back to the question, why was President Harding's administration not really seen as super scandalous in the public eye of America? That's kind of something that the American people really fail to observe, and that's because of the fact that Warren G. Harding's ideas when he first got into the presidency was returning to a normalcy is what he's recorded, return to normalcy. And he wanted to get America back on track. We had just finished World War I. We had another president that had just recently gone through some health problems with Wilson, and he wanted to return to normalcy, as he refers to it as. And American life was still, again, reeling from that. We talked about, then we have the Red Scare, which we talked about in our last lecture, reeling with America. We have a lot of this unrest. We have the rise of the KKK. We have immigration problems. All these things are kind of going on, but the president's returning to normalcy, as he refers to it. And one of the things that he really begins to look at is he's the president that's going to return that. And whether that was perceived as something prominent in the public's eyes, it's kind of not something that we can come to fruition, because what happens with him dying in office is people feel sorry for Harding dying in office. And even though the scandals are breaking, he's never going to be able to be brought to justice. It's kind of like he died, those scandals were underneath his presidency, and he'll never be brought to light. Those things will never be brought to light to mar his administration in going to court and going through trial and all these things that are splashed through the media. He passes, the scandal breaks, it's bad, you know, oh, Teapot Dome, the briberies, and the selling of government property. Those things are out there, and we know about them as historians, but the American people at that time didn't get a chance to judge him because they felt sorry for his passing. So that should help you in your essay. So if you watch the lecture, that should help you in your essay. You can incorporate a lot of that stuff and talk about the different things that I just explained in this lecture. So hopefully you guys learned something, and hopefully you do well on your test tomorrow. Again, or should I say hang loose, or should I say rock on? Hang loose or rock on? Give me the vote. Send me a question, hang loose or rock on. I like it.